The film opens in Manchester, England, 1951. The headquarters of the Secret Intelligence Service MI6 receives word that Alan Turing's home has been robbed. The police approach Alan to inquire about the burglary, but he dismisses them arrogantly, claiming that they wouldn't find the burglar even if he spat in their faces. They believe he is an irritable person who refuses to cooperate, raising the suspicion that he has something to hide.
Gentlemen, I don't believe that you could find... I had hoped for a bit more.
As you said, Professor Jew.
In September 1939, London declared war, and 800,000 children were evacuated from their homes.
11 o'clock, a state of war in ended the German government, and that consequently this country.
Alan Turing, 27, is disguised as Bletchley Radio Manufacturing and arrives at MI6 headquarters. When Commander Denniston arrives, Alan is relaxed and devoid of humor. Denniston assumes Alan is a genius based on his resume because he has published scientific papers at the age of 23. Alan does not consider himself a prodigy, instead comparing himself to Newton and Einstein, who had accomplished far more by the time they were his age.
Ah, Turing. A mathematician.
Best mathematicians in the world.
In the world, Mr. Turing.
27.
And how old were you when...
Agnostic about violence.
But you do realize that 600...
Discovered binomial theorem age 22.
When Denniston asks him why he wants to work for the British government, Alan explains that while he does not speak German, which is one of the requirements for the job, because they must decode German communications, he is one of the world's best mathematicians. He regards the German codes as puzzles, and language skills are not required.
Speak German.
Now, how the hell were you speak? I rejected one of our great...
German codes are a puzzle, a game.
When Denniston orders his secretary to accompany him out, Alan says Enigma, indicating his knowledge of the top-secret program for which he is being considered. The greatest encryption device is Enigma, which the Germans use for all major encryptions. The war would be over if Enigma was cracked. Alan enjoys puzzles, and Enigma is the most difficult puzzle available. Everyone thinks Enigma is unbreakable, but Alan says they'll find out after they give him a shot. Alan joins the Enigma program's other 5 members. They have a genuine Enigma machine smuggled out of Berlin, but it requires a specific setting to decode the messages.
Difficult puzzle in the world.
Margaret!
Short war indeed. Of course, that's what Enigma.
Every night at midnight, the Germans change the settings. Every morning at 6 a.m., the code breakers intercept the first transmission and have only 18 hours to crack the code before it changes, and they must restart. Hugh, their Enigma unit's captain, calculates that this means there are 159 million possibilities every day. Alan is hesitant to work with the team, claiming that the others will only slow him down, but the head of MI6 steward informs them that 4 men have died in the last few minutes due to the unbroken code, and orders them to begin.
Having an Enigma machine doesn't...
Only when you feed them back into Enigma that they make any sense. Today, promptly at midnight, usually. Details of every surprise attack.
1 million.
1,000 million.
Alan claims that while it is simple to obtain German messages, decoding them is impossible. The Enigma has so many settings that if 10 people tried one setting every minute, it would take 20 million years to try every possible combination, implying that this task is best left to a machine. When the crew asks Alan if they can take a lunch break, he is dismissive. He can't laugh at a joke and can't hold a meaningful conversation with them. After they leave, he returns to his work on a machine that could instantly decode Enigma.
Well, any schoolboy with an AN kit, we would have to check 20 million years. The trick was that they were encrypted. Try each one. 159 million.
In 1951, Robert Knock, the house burglary detective, discovers that Alan's records are classified. He is suspicious because he is perplexed as to why a math professor would have classified records. He secures Alan's records by falsifying a paper with a typewriter. Alan complains to Denniston in 1939 that his team captain, Hugh, has turned down his funding request for the parts he needs to develop his machine. Denniston informs him that his coworkers dislike him and that he should complain to someone else until his complaints are addressed. Alan suggests firing everyone and spending the money on his machine. He claims he only requires £100,000 and that only machines can defeat machines, but his request is denied. Alan inquires about Denniston's superior officer and discovers Winston Churchill is in command.
They're all idiots. Fire them and use the savings to fund my machine. Polish code machine, only this one is infinitely more highly technical. You wouldn't understand.
I suggest you make...
Complaint. No, Hugh Alexander has...
Winston Churchill, number 10 Downing Street, London, S.
Alan writes a letter to Winston Churchill and requests that Stewart deliver it. Later, Denniston informs the entire team that Alan has been placed in command per Churchill's instructions. Alan's first action is to fire 2 of his teammates for being poor code breakers and linguists. Alan, who is short on time, decides to create a crossword puzzle that can be completed in under 10 minutes. The newspaper advertises a nationwide search for new talent. Those who solve the puzzle are required to take another test. 2 people who solve this puzzle in under 6 minutes will be considered for a position in the Enigma program. Stewart asks Alan if that's even possible, and he replies that it took him 8 minutes to figure out. Joan, a woman, raises her hand. She completes the puzzle in 5 minutes and 46 seconds, impressing Alan and Stewart, and she and another candidate are hired for the position. Alan's machine is finished a few months later when the parts finally arrive. Alan is concerned when Joan fails to appear. He visits her home and attempts to persuade her parents that she is critical to his work. Joan is having a private conversation with Alan, despite the fact that her parents are listening in. Joan claims that her parents believe it is impolite for her to work and live with men. Alan notices and, in order to please her parents, loudly advises her to work in the secretarial department among women. Joan packs her belongings and departs with Alan. She questions why he is so eager to help her. Sometimes it's the people who no one imagines doing the things no one can imagine.
I'm sorry, but for someone in my... So I would be working amongst these women?
You won't have proper service.
Why are you helping me?
Detective Knock informs Superintendent Smith in 1951 that Alan's confidential military files are missing. They were destroyed and burned. They suspect him of being a Soviet saboteur. Joan arrived at Bletchley Park disguised as an office worker in 1940. Alan describes how the British are starving. The Americans would send 100,000 tons of food every week, but the Germans would send it to the bottom of the ocean. Every night at midnight, a bell rings, indicating that the previous day's efforts were futile. Hugh, frustrated, pays a visit to Alan, who is repairing his machine, Christopher. Hugh is enraged, so he grabs a wrench and attempts to injure Christopher, but the others intervene. Hugh informs him that the machine is no longer functional. One of the others, Peter, informs him that his brother and cousins are fighting in the war, but they have nothing to show for their efforts because Alan is obsessed with the machine. Alan is certain that the machine will work.
This machine. Damn you. Helpless. You can make this go for.
He's in the Navy. My cousins fly RAF. Of you.
Alan later takes a stack of Enigma messages from his desk and stuffs them into his pants. He avoids detection by checkpoint personnel and makes his way to Joan's house, where he climbs through her window. He displays the encrypted Enigma messages sent by the Nazi High Command, one of which begins "Heil Hitler" and ends "Weather Report." Joan and Alan debate the concept of a digital computer. The next day, Alan returns to the hut to find military police rummaging through his desk while the other codebreakers watch. Denniston explains that one of them is a spy. Alan is shown a telegram that was intercepted and encrypted with a key phrase on its way to Moscow. Alan is being investigated because he is arrogant and lonely, with no friends or romantic relationships. Denniston claims that he does not have to fire him because he can hang him for treason if he is discovered.
No, don't touch that. That's...
And I needn't bother firing you.
I know you don't like me, but that does not...
Joan approaches Alan, who is working on Christopher, and proposes taking him to a beer hut to cheer him up. She claims at the bar that it doesn't matter how brilliant he is, Enigma is smarter, and Alan needs all the help he can get, but his team won't help him if they don't like him. As Joan suggested, he brings apples the next time he sees them at their craft, and then attempts to tell a joke. When they turn on Christopher, they discover that it is the world's first digital computer, and it works. They wait to see if it can reveal the day's Enigma settings.
Well, Miss Clark...
Thank you. I like apples. What happens now?
According to Denniston's office, a conflict arises days later when Christopher fails to produce results. Alan is surprised to see Deniston and barricades the door to keep him out. They yank the door open and turned off Christopher. Deniston informs him that his machine is inoperable due to the fact that the Enigma has not been broken. He is irritated that he has spent £100,000 and has received nothing in return. Alan argues that his machine has not yet decoded a single German transmission. Hugh stops Deniston and says that if he fires Alan, they must be fired as well, because they believe his machine works. Hugh informs Deniston that they are the best cryptographers in the country and requests a 6-month extension. Deniston agrees to give them another month to solve Enigma or face firing. Hugh tells Alan in the beer hut that he has decoded the encrypted message sent to the Soviets, and that he knows Alan is not the spy because he would not have encrypted his message with a simple Bible verse.
Better bloody work.
Thank you.
Seek and he shall find. Matthew 7:7. That was. Oh, for God's sake, of course not a bloody.
Detective Knock is informed in 1951 that Alan's burglars have been apprehended. Alan, like one of the men who robbed his house, is homosexual. He is not a Soviet spy. Knock cannot believe it, but homosexuality was still punishable at the time. Joan returns home in 1941 to find Alan attempting to solve mathematical equations in order for Christopher to run through more settings per 18-hour block. She pulls over to inform Alan that she must return home because her parents are unhappy with her being 25 and single. He expresses his feelings, admits that he enjoys talking to her, and advises her to marry. She thinks he's talking about Hugh or Peter, but he's talking about himself. He proposes with a ring made from an electrical wire.
We should talk.
I'm unmarried, I'm living alone, and they want me home.
What?
It's my parents.
I want you to stay. Will you marry me?
Their engagement party is taking place at the beer hut. While Joan dances with Hugh, one of his crew members, John, talks with a depressed Alan, who admits to being gay. John sympathizes with Alan and admits that he has had a feeling for a while. He advises him to keep it hidden because homosexuality is illegal, and Deniston is looking for any excuse to imprison Alan. Alan and his team have been waiting for Christopher to crack the code, but the midnight buzzer sounds, forcing them to restart. The machine will never be able to process that many alternatives in 18 hours. Alan overhears Hugh flirting with Joan's co-worker in the pub and has an epiphany about German-coded messages. He sprints across Bletchley Park and security checkpoints, with the entire crew chasing him.
C-I-L-L-Y.
Sorry.
In this case, I've just lost Germany.
Alan pours the previously decoded messages out. He emphasizes that Christopher does not need to go through all of the options because the computer can search for the words they know will be in the message. They discover that the entire weather report at 6 a.m. ends with Heil Hitler. They can decipher the code by having Christopher look up the words weather, Heil, and Hitler. They put it to the test by sending a message at 6 a.m. Christopher comes to an abrupt halt. They take the generated letters and return to the Enigma machine to type the same characters again. They figure out how to decode the message. They solve the Enigma. The team works through the night.
M. Y.
Why?
M.
Jaguar ist auf Punkt is directed to 53 degrees.
That's the only German you need to know to break.
They have decoded the signals and can now draw a map with all of their ships facing the Axis ships. Only 5 people in the world, according to John, know where each ship is in the Atlantic, and they are all present in this room. Joan notices that the Axis ships are about to launch an attack on a British passenger convoy. Hugh attempts to contact Deniston to warn him, but Alan cuts him off. He emphasizes that they must let them sink or the Germans will discover that they have cracked Enigma. The Germans will immediately cut radio contact and revise Enigma's design. They must sacrifice the lives of hundreds of innocent people in order to keep the cracking of Enigma a secret and win the war. Peter sobs when he realizes his brother is in one of the convoys. He requests that only this ship be reported to Deniston, but Alan simply apologizes and everyone agrees.
The HMS Carlisle is one of the ships.
Scan.
Do you think you are?
Yes, we do.
Alan and Joan travel to London by train. They meet Stuart at a tea shop and reveal that they have decoded Enigma, but they need Stuart's assistance in deciding how much information to use and which attacks to cancel. So the Germans do not believe the enigma has been cracked, and he would tell the public convincing lies about how they obtained the information. Peter is angry with Alan and clashes with him as they continue their work. Alan then notices a Bible and recalls Hugh's words about a Soviet spy, which were based on a Bible verse. Alan cannot turn John into Deniston because he would then reveal his homosexuality to everyone.
I'll tell them you're Soviets and us. We're on the same side.
He goes to see Joan later, but her apartment is trashed, and Stewart informs him that she is in military prison. That's when Alan reveals that John is the spy, but he knew all along because he put John in Bletchley Park and fed false information to the Soviets. He requests Alan's assistance with espionage. He lied about Joan, who is now at the market. Alan meets with Joan and asks her to end their relationship due to his sexual orientation. She still wants to be with him, claiming that they love each other differently. To save her from Stewart, he lies to her about never caring for her, which deeply hurts her.
That sounds like a better match.
Alan informs Detective Knock in 1951 that he has told him his story and must now play the imitation game to determine whether he is a machine or a human. Am I a war hero, he wonders. Am I a criminal? Knock tells Alan that he cannot pass judgment on him. Alan informs him that he cannot help him because he has Asperger's syndrome and cannot judge himself.
Machine? No. Detective? I can't.
Joan pays a visit to Alan, who is older and lives alone, in 1953. Alan is nervous and tells her that the judge has given him the option of serving 2 years in prison or receiving weekly hormone therapy to help him overcome his homosexual tendencies. Her wedding ring catches his attention, and she tells him about her husband and how happy she is. She asks him to do a crossword puzzle out of nostalgia, but he is unable to do so because hormone treatment has damaged his brain. Joan explains to him that no normal person could have done what they did. That morning she was on a train, passing through a town that would not have existed if Alan had not been there. She bought a ticket from a man who, if not for Alan, would almost certainly be dead. She's glad he wasn't born with a stereotypical personality. The world is a tremendously better place precisely because you weren't normal, she says.
A whole field. I was on a train that went through a city. But sometimes...
Alan is by himself in his home. He looks wistfully at Christopher, his supercomputer and life partner, before turning off the lights. Cut to the 6 cryptographers destroying all Enigma evidence. Alan committed suicide in 1954 after a year of government-mandated hormonal therapy. In recognition of his wartime efforts, Queen Elizabeth II granted Alan Turing a posthumous royal pardon in 2013. Historians estimate that solving Enigma cut the war by more than 2 years, saving over 14 million lives. Alan Turing's invention sparked decades of research into Turing machines, or computers as we know them today. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you in the next video.